Gridiron Grinder! Hut hut hike! And we are rolling. It is Friday night, James. How's it going, man?
It's going good. Yourself?
I'm a lot better now. It's been a rough week, man. Sounds like same for you, but it's Friday night. I got a whiskey in my hand. It's Gridiron Grinder time. I'm excited, man. So did you get to catch that game last night?
A little bit of it here and there. I kind of got annoyed with it at times and do something else for a little bit and then go back to it.
Yeah, I'm kind of blown away by the series of events there at the end of the first half. Just totally swung the momentum, and then I actually fell asleep a bit in the second half. But I woke up and I heard all about that whole fourth down debacle with Brady, and did he know it was fourth down? Why was he putting the four fingers up? And it's like, oh man, like what the heck happened there?
Yeah, and then he's claiming, "Oh, I knew it was fourth down, blah blah blah." In the press conference, it's like, come on, you didn't know, because if you thought it was fourth down, you wouldn't have pushed the ball 20 yards downfield. You would have gotten the damn first down.
Yeah, yeah, it's just crazy to think Brady would have made that kind of a mental mistake, but you know, it can happen
Well,
to anyone. You know, we
well,
we
I
know what.
if you watch the series, I know what happened. Like the on first down, they got 4 yards,
Hmm.
and the guy they rushed up to the line. I think Brady assumed they got the first down, didn't realize that they didn't get the first down there.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so it set him off by one. Well, hey,
I was at you pros for.
oh, I was just gonna say, so yeah, it set him off by a play. Am I
Yeah,
back?
yeah, you're back. You just like kind of froze for a second, so I was like,
Hey,
wait a
man,
minute.
that's the power of the internet, man. You know, sometimes you're here, sometimes you're not. But hey,
Yeah.
so for tonight, for anybody watching, as you can see, James is on the move, and he's got a stadium for one of the home teams that's playing this week in his background. And we thought it would be fun that every week here for a little while he's going to be switching it up. If you think you know which one it is, sometimes it might be a little bit obvious if you can get a glimpse of the logo or whatnot. But shoot the answer in the comments section, and next week we'll hook you up with a special shout out because we're just doing this for fun. We don't have any money or prizes that we can give you, at least not yet. But hey, maybe one day, a man and his friend can dream, right, James?
Yeah, definitely can dream.
So all right. So aside from the game last night, going back looking at week four, did you get to watch a lot of the games?
I got to watch a lot of them. Like, I have DirecTV, so I can tune into pretty much anything. Yeah, I kind of focus on the Lions game when they're on, and then kind of flip around and commercials, and then the afternoon I kind of watch like the four on the one screen.
Gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, I was like hit and miss. It seemed like the whole time. Going even to that Thursday night game that we sucked that up. We've been messing up Thursday night games here for a couple weeks in a row now. But and then even on Sunday, it was like I was telling myself I'm not going to watch the Lions game. I'm not going to put myself through that. And then of course, they get out to this early lead, and like everybody's blowing up my phone, like, "Oh, are you seeing this?" And so I turned it on just to watch them collapse. And so it just, that just kind of set the day for me. But I mean, hey, some of these games, you can't catch them all. There's a lot of them, but hey, I'm glad with all the COVID stuff going on. Any football is good football, so I'll take it. All right, so
Uh,
why don't we jump into our week five power rankings? We've got a pretty good flow the way we've been doing these chunks of five. So if you want, why don't you just shoot me your top five and tell me what's changed since last week?
all I just my power ranking 1 through 5. I have Kansas and Baltimore. They 1 and 2 last week. Seattle. I think Seattle's defense is just atrocious here, and Green Bay kind of seems to be dominating everybody. And then I have Tampa Bay at 5. I thought about moving them down this week. I'm I thing about this, like I can't pick. You have to keep them up there for some reason, but I
Yeah.
just every time this team, I'm disappointed.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, there's some inconsistency. It seems like all around. Every time you think you see something positive, you see something to say, yeah, they're not there yet. Well, I thought it was interesting looking at your top five. So 1 through 4, you and I are now 100% aligned. I kept Kansas City at 1, obviously, which was kind of crazy because I caught some of that game against New England, and it actually seemed like it was pretty close until later in the game, and then Kansas City pulled away, which I kind of thought maybe that's a cause for concern, but it seems to be like the standard for Kansas City in general. When I look back at a lot of their games, it's like they have sort of a slower start in most games, and then the second half they just pull away like crazy. And so I thought, I don't know, man, probably nothing to worry about. But I just thought it was interesting that New England put up that much of a fight until the second half.
Well, the thing about Kansas City is Mahomes has like 3 or 4 games that he's hasn't scored a touchdown in the first half, and all of them are against New England.
Gotcha.
So something about the first half in New England that Belichick comes out with the perfect game plan for Mahomes, and then in the second half they adjust.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. And you got honestly in that game, I like those two head coaches, man. Belichick and Andy Reid, they're two of my favorites. They've both been around a long time. They both do some pretty cool shit. So, it was just kind of a bummer that the New England quarterback situation blew up as the game went on, because it was like, holy cow, man! Like they could have probably kept him in it all the way to the end had they not started turning the ball over. But you know, it is what it is. When you're on your second and third string quarterback, they're probably pretty lucky that it wasn't even worse than that.
Yeah. Well, the game was pretty much done at the end of the half when Hoyer took the sack with no timeouts left. Like
Yeah.
they kick a field goal there, then I mean they have a boost going into the second half hitting the ball, but Hoyer took the sack and
Yeah, and if my
they
memory
weren't able to
serves
get
me
anything.
right too, they got a hand on him while he was in the pocket, and so you would have thought that that would have been his signal to get rid of it or do something. he just waited and they took him down. It was like, oh man, for how many years you've been in the league, you got to know better than that.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so at 5, that's where we've got our difference here. You've got Tampa Bay. I've got Buffalo at 5. And basically, last week I had Pittsburgh at 5. Maybe it's a little bit of a dick move dropping Pittsburgh because they were on this unplanned bye week. But I just felt like Buffalo, they just keep like chugging along, crushing people. And, I know the Raiders, they almost made it interesting, towards the end of the game, but Buffalo, they just keep winning, man, and they just look good all the way through. And so I put them in my top 5 finally, and we'll see. Maybe they can maintain, maybe they won't. Time will tell. All right, man,
Yeah.
hit me with 6 through 10.
So 6, I have Buffalo. I mean, I've had Buffalo pretty much right here all year. I think I started with them at 7. Um, I just think can't put them in the top 5 because I see some concerns with them.
Mm-hmm.
I see like letting how they let the Rams come back. Even though I have the Rams as a top 10 team,
Yep.
it's just like their defense kind of collapsed and let the Rams come back, and they were really lucky to win that game. I moved Pittsburgh up 1 spot from 8 to 7. It was more of a I dropped the team I had at 7 down,
Oh yeah, I
and
got you.
and so I dropped Arizona from 7 to 10. So New England, the Rams, and Pittsburgh all moved up a spot. The thing with New England is I really like this team. They were competitive against Kansas City. I have some concerns because I guess Gilmore now has said
Mm-hmm.
so. There's a little bit of concern on that defense even more, but the defense just seems to keep stepping up.
Yeah. Yeah, Belichick knows how to work the magic, man.
Yeah, and if they had Cam on Monday, or it would have been Sunday. If they had Cam, who knows? They probably would have beat Kansas City the way that game was going.
I kind of thought that. Especially watching the first half, I thought, wow, if Cam was playing, this could be a totally different trajectory for this game. And but woulda, coulda, shoulda. You never know. You can't go back and figure that stuff out. But
Yeah.
um, okay,
And
so
the
yeah,
reason for Arizona dropping from 7 to 10 was because I mean they just the last 2 weeks they haven't had it. I don't know what's wrong with them. Like
yeah,
they lost to the Lions and then they went and then lost to Carolina, which I mean that like the Lions loss I could see that before the season. I kind of saw that as a Lions win, but then I changed my pick last week obviously, and
yeah.
but then going in or 2 weeks ago, but then going to Carolina, they lost a lot. I just don't know. I don't know what's wrong there, and if they have to find it again.
Yeah, I agree that they started off the year really hot in those first 2 weeks, and it just cooled off fast. Um, I've been reading a lot about it, trying to understand it myself, and it sounds like the run game is having a lot of issues, and Kenyon Drake's efficiency is not where it was last year, and so I've heard a lot of talk about them possibly getting Chase Edmonds even more involved, and I mean it seems like his usage has been kind of creeping up already as it is, but it seems like, hey, if Drake's not going to get the job done, they got to see what else they've got because uh, Kingsbury's actually been very focused when you look at his time last year and then going back to college. He's put a lot of emphasis on the running game, and I think that helps him open up the passing game. And so if they can't get that going, that could it could change things from a philosophy standpoint for them. They'd have to get creative and do some things that maybe they've not prepared for at this point.
Yeah,
Okay, so 6 through 10 on my side. I already let you know Pittsburgh. I had them slide one, which dick move, whatever, deal with it. I mean, it just and hey, it's more Tennessee's fault than theirs, but whatever. So I got Tampa Bay at 7. I kept them where they were at, even though watching last night makes me think, what the heck, man, this team is really starting to shock me. Um, and even last week against the Chargers, I thought, holy cow, they're going to do a shootout with a rookie quarterback. Um, but before last night's game, when I did these rankings, I kind of looked at the teams around them and I thought, I'm still pretty comfortable with them here. I know that's all going to go out the window now that last night game is in the books, but 8, I got New England. I kept them at 8 from where they were last week. Like we talked about, I think they played great against the Chiefs. Had Cam been in that game, it probably could have been a win. And Cam will be in the back of the mix at some point. So, they're still a solid team. 9 and 10, I got the Rams and Saints, respectively. Both of them, I bumped them up in one spot. It was like, hey, they win, they go up. For the Rams, it would have been nice to see them really put the hurt on the Giants. That kind of shocked me that game was that close. But compared to a lot of the teams around them, in my rankings at least, I thought it made sense to bump them up here. And then with the Saints, similar kind of thing. They win, they go up. I get it. The Lions suck. Yeah, whatever. But the Saints will be getting Michael Thomas back sooner than later. I think it looks like he could be on track to play this weekend even. And that gives them a legit boost. So I'm pretty good getting them creeping back into my top 10 again. Okay, so with no rebuttal on your part, let's go through 11 through 15. If you're still with me.
I'm still with you. Can you not hear me?
I can hear you now. You were froze on my end for a minute there.
Oh, okay. So because I had a little bit of a rebuttal with the Saints, but I'll get to that here, and then you just like, okay, let's go to 11 through 15 with no rebuttal.
We're having technical difficulties tonight, but we'll work our way through it.
Yeah. So I have Vegas at 11. I don't know about this team. Like they seem like they have good stretches, then they have bad stretches. They seem undisciplined at times. I just I wanted to give them another week to see and kind of look at this team a little bit further. I left Tennessee at 12. they didn't play. I couldn't really judge them. Now have what, like 15 players that have COVID,
Yeah,
and
it's getting
about
nasty.
that about possibly having to postpone this game further. Um, Nor I didn't bump them up. I don't think they're a top 10 team. I don't think Drew Brees is playing well enough for this to be a top 10 team like you have them. I think we'll see when Michael Thomas comes back if I still think that. But yeah, and I thought that there was problems with Drew Brees, and he had Michael Thomas throughout the majority of the game up until like the last like minute of the game when Thomas got hurt.
That's true.
Um, 14 and 15, I have Dallas and Chicago. Chicago, I think is one of the worst teams in this league, but they're finding ways to win. Dallas, again, they found a way to win against Atlanta. Um, this defense is horrible,
Oh
which is
yeah.
leading to like super numbers on this offense, and I don't know what to say about this team. We'll see we'll see what happens this week when the Giants come in, because the Giants have scored 2 touchdowns all season, and if the Giants score 21, 28 points, then Dallas will probably drop a lot in my rankings.
Yeah, if that happens, geez, it'd be insane. So before I get into mine, I did want to talk about Vegas for a second, and I know you kicked off with them at 11. The one thing I try and keep in mind with the Raiders is that they do have a lot of new players on the team this year. They brought in some veteran guys, and they're asking a lot of some of their rookies and younger players at the same time. And so, I like the direction they're going in, and I know he's been there a little while now, and it's about time that they start getting some traction. But I think it's coming. I like what I'm seeing. We talked about it a couple weeks ago that it looks like Derek Carr is getting more aggressive. He's pushing the ball down the field a lot more. And so I think they're going in the right direction. I don't have them as high as you because I'm trying to kind of temper my expectations, but I do like what I'm seeing. All right, so 11 through 15 on my end. I got Tennessee at 11. I dropped them down 2 spots from last week, and honestly, it was really just for the simple fact that they're putting football in jeopardy for all of us, and that shit's not cool. And I know it's more complicated than just saying that, but I'm just bummed out, man. I mean, it's like, geez, you have this little cluster of people getting sick, and it spreads like wildfire. And I think that this is the challenge with the NFL compared to like the NBA doing their bubble thing. And it's Tennessee's just the ones that everybody's going to point to because they got hit the hardest, and games have already been rescheduled because of it.
Yeah,
But
well, the thing with Tennessee is like you look at New England. New England had one person come in that had COVID, and it spread possibly to Gilmore, because apparently Gilmore and Cam went out to dinner on Friday night before they knew COVID. You look at Atlanta. Atlanta had a positive test, and it didn't spread to the rest of the team because they followed. The Raiders had a positive test, and it didn't spread to the rest of the team because they followed the protocols. You
yeah,
look at Tennessee, and they shut down their facility and tell them no workouts, so they go meet in a high school and work out. So
yeah,
there's obviously something there where they're not following the protocols to and is causing the spread.
yeah. And like I said, I mean, they're ruining it for everyone, and that's the part that bums me out. And so I gave them a little bit of a kick down just because of that. I mean, hey, we'll see how they do on the field, if and when they actually get back on the field. At 12, I bumped up Indianapolis. I moved them up 3 spots this week. And, you and I talked about it a little bit before tonight. I mean, this defense is just fucking legit. And I've been letting myself get carried away all year talking about Philip Rivers being the double agent and, the team kind of swinging depending on if he keeps it in check or not. But, I think we just saw, against Chicago, this defense can just shut you down. And when you look at their stats on the season, they're shutting everybody down. And so I love defensive football, and I'm giving them some credit here, giving them some respect here, and I'm bumping them up to 12. At 13, this was probably my biggest jump for the week. I put up Cleveland 6 spots. And, I know that some of their win against Dallas came from Dallas's defense just being piss poor horrible. But, when you look at Cleveland, they kept chugging along just fine even after Nick Chubb went out of the game. And, I'm starting to feel like I did about these guys in the preseason where, I really feel comfortable that they can get in the playoffs, especially with that extra playoff spot being there for grabs. They know that the meal ticket is running the crap out of the ball, and it's making everything else come into play, and it's working. And so I like them there. I got San Fran at 14. I kept them where they were last week. The quarterback situation is really what bit them in the ass this time around, and I think they're going to get back on track. It looks like Jimmy G is going to play this weekend, and so it was just basically a blip on the radar, in my opinion. And then at 15, I got Arizona. I dropped them down 2 spots. It's just tough. I've seen some rankings where people have leapfrogged Carolina over Arizona. And I think that's way too aggressive. I can't put Carolina in the top 15 yet. I do like what I'm seeing. I think they got some momentum. Maybe they work their way there, but they're still such a young team. Arizona, maybe I got high on them too fast, and I just got to temper my expectations again. But I think they can get back on track, and they're a good team. They got a lot of talent, both sides of the ball. So let's see where it goes. Okay, 16 through 20, man. Or unless you wanted to, hit me up on some of that.
Well, a lot of that I might hit on my 16 through 20 because like you had San Francisco at 14. I actually dropped San Francisco to 17, and it's simply because Philadelphia beat San Francisco. They deserve to be ahead of them, and I have Philadelphia at 16. I had it flipped the other way last week, and I just think give Philadelphia a little bit of love for actually going in and beating San Francisco. While I understand the argument that it was their quarterback bit them in the ass, but then again, on the same token, that defense didn't do that well either.
Mm-hmm. For me, it's just a matter of I've dropped Philly so far down at this point. It's kind of like the Carolina-Arizona thing. I can start working them back up the board, but I just thought it was too aggressive a move, at least on my side, to have them leapfrog over San Fran. But I understand what you're saying, and everybody can make their own arguments, so I'm good with that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but for you going so far up is one thing. I had them.
Yeah, you had them a lot closer.
Last week.
Yeah.
So
it's
them in the same spot.
It's a lot easier of an argument from the way that you've been moving these guys for sure.
And then I have Indianapolis at 18. I like the defense, like you talked about their defense, but I have concerns about Rivers, and I still have concerns about Rivers, and I probably will always have concerns about Rivers. I've had concerns about Rivers since we started this, when we were talking about how he likes to turn the ball over and forgets what team he plays for. 19, I had Cleveland there at 19 last week, have them there this week. While they went in and they beat Dallas, I can't give them credit for that win. Dallas is terrible. Dallas's defense is terrible. Clemson probably could go in and put up the stats that Cleveland did against Dallas.
It's aggressive.
And then maybe not literally, but I'm obviously talking hyperbolically, but it's the point. Anybody can put up stats against Dallas's defense. The Lions probably put up 700 yards against Dallas's defense.
Yeah, and it actually, because we're on it, I'm just going to jump in, is that, it bums me out because I know earlier on, I don't know if it was in the preseason or if it was in week 1 or 2, I was pumping up Mike Nolan a little bit because I liked him from years past. His time in San Francisco and various places, and I thought he could really do something with this defense. And I know that they've been decimated by injuries, but you got to be better than this. I mean, this is like he's out of touch with the league, man. I mean, it just we saw Bill O'Brien. He just got canned. We've talked a lot about the Lions. I'm sure we will more tonight, but Dan Quinn with the Falcons could be on the chopping block. I've got to believe they're talking about getting rid of Mike Nolan midseason here because this defense is like the worst ever, basically.
Yeah, and the thing that bugs me is I like the players on this defense. The ones, even the ones that are so healthy, I like them and think this defense should be better. I mean, hell, they were my defense that I picked for fantasy to start the year, and they've just been terrible.
And here's one thing that I think is worth saying is that I honestly believe that they would be better if McCarthy would just run the ball a little bit more. I mean, it just seems like all they want to do is pass. And I get it. You've got 3 stud wide receivers, and Dak has been on fire with them. But, there's something to be said for running the ball and controlling the clock. It does take pressure off the defense. It controls the tempo better. And maybe that's what they need. Maybe they need something like that to kind of get them into a groove, and then it can go from there. They'll get some of these guys back. Van Der Esch will be back at some point, and I don't know. I just they got to do something. I mean, it's a mess.
Yeah, and we talked about that a couple of weeks ago when Dallas played Seattle. I thought Dallas would walk into Seattle, run the ball all the time, dominate the time of possession, and win the game. Obviously, I was wrong because they don't know how to run the ball anymore.
Yeah. They've been running with Dak, a bunch of quarterback sneaks, man, up the middle. Like, come on, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. And then to round out at 20, I have Cincinnati. Cincinnati won last week. They're about where I thought they were going into that game. I thought they were going to win, so they're not really getting that much of a boost for the win from me.
I got you. All right, so 16 through 20 on my side. I've got the Raiders at 16, Cowboys 17, Chargers 18, Vikings 19, Bears 20. Basically, I moved the Raiders up one spot, and, it was really one of these situations. I don't like bumping people after they lose a game, but it was just about the way the board moved around them. It just kind of happened. And so, we're going to keep an eye on them. We've already talked about them a bit. 17 with the Cowboys, I dropped them down 5 spots, and it's killing me. I feel like I've hung on long enough that I finally had to inflict some pain in them in my rankings. And, 5 spots may not even be enough. I mean, if this team can't figure out how to do something on defense, they're just going to keep sliding. And so I don't know. The offense is electric, but they're not finding a way to win. The Chargers, I bumped them up too. I think they're playing really well with a rookie quarterback. I mean, it's like, Burrow is legit in Cincinnati. And now here we are, Herbert's looking legit with the Chargers. These rookie quarterbacks, man, I mean, it's a new age, I guess. And I mean, I just thought the Bucs were a superior team. After last night, I'm second guessing myself a little bit, but I still like the way the Chargers been playing ball. Minnesota, I bumped them up 2 spots to 19. Hey, they won, they get a bump. That's cool. I'm not too excited about it because Houston has basically had the wheels fall off at this point. And I picked Houston to win that game, and they lost. And now Bill O'Brien's gone, and their season is like, can it be salvaged with Romeo Crennel? I don't know. But it was good to see Minnesota get on track a little bit. And I'll give them a little bit credit here. Their defense still scares me, and so I don't know if they'll be able to hold this spot. They gotta, we gotta see how it shakes out. Chicago at 20, so I dropped them down 4 spots. basically, kind of like we were just talking about with the Colts, they just shut them down. I mean, the Bears' offense was non-existent against the Colts, and I know the Colts are dominant, but you got to do something better than 269 total yards of offense. I mean, that's just despicable. But hey, they pulled off their win last night, so next week we'll be talking more about them. 21 through 25, man, hit me up.
All right, I left Denver at 21. There's things I like about this team. I don't like how many points the Jets put up against them,
Mm-hmm.
because the Jets are a pathetic team. But I just they won. I didn't think they did enough to get a bump. Carolina, I'm perplexed by this Carolina team. Like, I did not think they would be in the game at all against Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
Not Tampa Bay. Oh shit,
yeah,
I
Arizona.
messed up. Arizona. Sorry. It was two. Well, heck, a couple weeks ago, I didn't think they would be in the game at all against Tampa Bay, and they were in the game. And then they were in the game against Arizona. I don't think this team is as good as they've been playing. I think that they've been fortunate to be playing as well as they have, and I see a little bit of a decline coming.
Okay.
Minnesota, I had them at 23 last week. They're at 23 this week. If it weren't for the fact that Minnesota hadn't played or hadn't practiced pretty much all week, like they opened up their facility Thursday, Friday last week, I probably would have picked them to beat Houston. That's the only reason I beat Houston was because of the limited practice going into the game for Minnesota.
Yeah,
But obviously,
it didn't
obviously
matter. Yeah.
Houston's a trash team with Bill O'Brien, which they're at 24. I didn't drop them because I like the fact that they got rid of Bill O'Brien. I've been talking about that all year, that they with a better coach, this team can be good.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
looked to
it's
me like
tough,
they
man. I mean,
quit with Bill O'Brien.
I like Bill O'Brien as a coach. I don't like him as a GM, and I don't know if that's what killed him here, but I think you can call him out for coaching too, and I probably got to come off of supporting him as much as I have been, but I remember watching him on Hard Knocks however many years ago, and just kind of like following him ever since then. He's a really well-spoken guy. You can tell he's intelligent to football. He understands things, but something's just not translating to results on the field. And so, at the end of the day, hey man, you got to have production, and he's not getting it. So, you know, we're moving on.
Yeah, and the thing, thing, thing with him is he was there for what, 6 years, and 4 of the 6 years they won the division. So I mean, it was getting
Yeah,
some
that's true.
results, but I just
He did have production. That's a good point.
yeah, it felt to me like you go back to being up what 24-3 against Kansas City in the
Oh yeah,
playoffs, and then collapsing in that game, and just everything that's happened this year. While they started the year with probably the three best teams in the league, um, then they had Minnesota, and Minnesota's not playing well enough to really be that dominant against Houston.
yeah,
And
I think. Well, yeah, just go ahead. Yeah.
and then at 25, I have Miami. I really like how Miami's playing. Like they're not they're not doing well enough for me to really bump them up. But I see glimpses on this team and in this team's play that tell me that there might be something here if they just start Tua.
Hey, the voices, they'll be getting louder and louder, man. All right,
Yeah.
so looking at 21 through 25 on my side. And oh, by the way, I noticed that your 21 through 25 is locked in from where it was last week. There were no changes, so you got some pretty solid consistency there. For me at 21, I got Cincinnati. Then I got Carolina, Philadelphia, Houston, and Detroit. Cincinnati, I bumped them up by 3 spots. And, really, they're getting things rolling. The biggest question, as far as I can tell, is can they keep this momentum against tougher competition? And I think that this weekend is going to be a really good test for them against the Ravens. I'm excited to see how they do. 22 with Carolina. I bumped them up 6 spots, huge bump. And, it's tough. Like you're saying, they're like this perplexing team where it's like, geez, they're young. They got a lot of new pieces. Their star player is out. Somehow, all of a sudden, they've caught a little bit of fire, and even their defense is showing some signs of life. But it's like, is it just a flash in the pan, or is this real legit coaching and the team coming together, and they're going to keep this going? I don't know. I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt now because I had them rated really low up to this point. 23, I got Philadelphia. I bumped them up 3 spots. Here's the thing. It's like, to me, how much of last weekend was about them getting back on track versus, the San Francisco quarterback situation handing them a win. And, I think you can make a lot of arguments about what played out in that game. It's good that Philly got the win. It shows that they still got some life in them. But they still have a ton of injuries, man. And, even this weekend, I think Alshon Jeffrey's already been ruled out. And Deshaun Jackson maybe out too. I mean, it just where does it end with these guys? I think if they get people back, then I'll be more comfortable bumping them up higher. I'm just worried that it was just a one game. Hey, they got it. They're back in the tank from here. So I don't know. Houston, I got them at 24, so I dropped them down by 6 spots. Hey, like we talked about, I was hanging on to some hope with Houston longer than I should have, and now they burned me last week with Minnesota, so I had to finally drop them down. At this point, hey, they're at 24. Yeah, they could fall on the board, but they're 0-4, which means they really, from a record standpoint, kind of have nowhere to go but up. I mean, I know they could go sideways, they could keep losing, but really, is it that much worse than it is right now? I don't know. And then Detroit at 25. I don't know. All I can really say is just fuck Detroit. They piss me off. You know that. It's hard for me to talk about them without getting upset. And really, it's not fuck Detroit because I love the Lions, and it's more about fuck Matt Patricia, fuck Bob Quinn. These guys are absolute garbage. Just listening to them talk angers me. We're 1-3. We've had double-digit leads in all 3 of our losses, and I don't know, dude. I've just run out of patience with these guys. And hey, I said it last week. I'm probably going to kick myself for bumping them up my board, and now here we are. I'm dropping them back down.
Yeah, that's why I didn't bump them up as high as much as you did from the first week. I had them originally thought I was going to put them higher, and then I was like, no, I can't. Like, I have to make them earn it. But also, I was really high on them coming in the season, so
yeah.
I mean that it took me a little bit to really drop them down to where I had them.
Yeah, we're like inverted on this. I started the year like, nope, they're not going to do anything. And then as soon as they got Galladay back and notched a win, I'm like, oh yeah, here we go. They're going to do it. And then, nope, that was just 1 week. They're back to the shit show. Okay, 26 through 30, man. Hit me up.
All right, 26. I have Jacksonville. I had Jacksonville at 26 last week. I expected Jacksonville to lose, so I'm not going to penalize them for it.
Mm-hmm.
The Lions, I have them at 27. Now, when I really looked at it, the reason why I didn't drop the Lions is because the teams I have behind the Lions I'm not 100%, either not 100% sold on, or they're really just shit shows, even worse shit shows than the Lions.
I mean, the only one I would question is the Chargers, just because the way that they've been playing, man. But I know you can make the argument too, so it's fine.
Well, the Chargers, I think this is the week for the Chargers. Like I just need to see the consistency with the Chargers. Also this week I'm hearing Joey Bosa Joey Bosa?
Yeah,
Nick Bosa.
Joey.
Joey.
I know
I was
that
right.
one always tricks you there.
Yeah. Joey Bosa is possibly injured coming into the weekend, which concerns me. But I really I want to see them actually get over the hump and win a game before I move them up.
Gotcha.
29, I have Washington. Now, I would have flipped Washington and Atlanta based on what I saw last weekend, except for Atlanta didn't fire Dan Quinn.
Yeah.
So I can't put Atlanta up that one spot just because I they need to get rid of Dan Quinn. I granted, who are they going to put there instead of Dan Quinn? So they're probably stuck with Dan Quinn for the entire season. But I just I thought Atlanta gave a better showing against Green Bay than Washington did against Baltimore. But then again, also Washington benched Haskins coming into the weekend, so
Yeah.
maybe Kyle Allen will show a little bit better. So I just really couldn't flip them just yet.
I gotcha. And hey, man, I am excited to see what Kyle Allen does. I mean, he put up some stats last year, and especially early on when they were giving him the start. It was later in the year he started having costly turnovers, and it ended up biting him in the ass. But he showed that he can put some yardage out there, and that he has some potential. He's just got to get a little bit tighter and not make the mistakes. And he's coming off the bench, so really, it's a chance for him to shine. With Haskins, it's tough. I mean, young quarterback still, and they ran out of patience. I don't know. Maybe you could argue a little early, but you know, it, their defense has been playing great, and so they want somebody that can help them get some wins. And at
Yeah.
some point, if Alex Smith gets ready to play, I could even see him getting in the mix later on in the year. And ideally, he's probably the best out of all of them. He's just got to get back into that kind of playing shape.
And it goes noted that Haskins didn't just get demoted to number two. Haskins is the
Yeah,
number three quarterback now,
I know,
behind
I know.
Alex Smith.
Yeah, which is
So
harsh.
that
It's harsh, but
yeah,
they're sending a clear message that hey, you didn't get it done. We're not even going to waste our time with you.
exactly.
All right, so I've got 26. I got Denver, and then I've got Atlanta, Miami, Jacksonville, and Washington. I bumped the Broncos up by one spot. I think we were idiots to think at the last minute that the Jets could win that game. But we did it, and we've learned our lesson. I just like when I watch Denver, despite the injuries, their defensive line has been doing a great job getting pressure on teams. And their offense has been making it work despite Locke being out and, Philip Lindsay being out, Cortland Sutton being out. I think if they get Locke back, this team could really start to move in the right direction again. And so I like what we're seeing there. But man, it just, injuries all over the place, man. 27 with Atlanta. I dropped them down by 4 spots. And, just like Bill O'Brien and, hopefully Matt Patricia, Dan Quinn's got to go. You've been saying it all year. I like Dan Quinn. I loved him when he was a defensive coordinator with the Seahawks. It's just, man, he's just not, something's not clicking as head coach. And, the players love him, but it's just not coming together. And so, their season's pretty much gone with them starting 0-4. I think this weekend, if the Panthers win, that's it. He's out. I mean, that's got to be the nail in the coffin at that point. But we'll see. I still think that they've got a lot of talent on offense, even if Julio Jones doesn't play, which I don't think he's gonna. But they got to get a win, or it's time to call it. Miami
See,
at 20. Yeah, go ahead.
I disagree agree there. I don't think Arthur Blank's going to fire Dan Quinn during the season.
Because there's
I
nobody behind him. You're saying.
because there's nobody behind him. Like, who is it? Not Raheem Mostert. What's his name?
I
Yeah,
I all I'm saying is if he goes 0-5 and they were on the fringe of firing him last year, I don't know how you hang on to him, man.
I honestly think it's because of who's behind them. I'm going to look up the coordinators, but I mean they have people
Yeah,
like
check
they
it
have
out. But
guys that have done nothing in the NFL and have had worse records than Dan Quinn
then
that
you
that are
roll the.
behind.
That's fine. You roll the dice. You take a shot because your season's already freaking toast if you go 0-5. So you have somebody else come in, see if they can do something, and if they can't, you're going to get a high pick. You're probably going to draft Trevor Lawrence, trade Matt Ryan, get him out of there. Start parsing off all sorts of pieces, and you're starting fresh. You get your real coach at the end of the year, and you move on with life. I don't know, just
They
my
have
opinion. Otherwise, you're telling your fan base, "Hey, we accept a losing culture, and we're not going to do anything about it." I mean, it's. I think they're better off making the change and at least telling the fans, "Hey, we fucked up by bringing him back, and we're stopping it right now, dead in the tracks." And the rest of the year might be a mess, but at least you can see that we're starting the process now to figure out what our next move is.
so defensive coordinators Raheem Morris. I knew it was Raheem.
Yeah, is he the guy that was in Tampa Bay a number of years ago? I don't know if you know that or not, but if
Yeah,
he had, yeah,
I
if
s-
he
I was I was just gonna go to look at his coaching career, but uh, yeah,
all
he
right,
was in Tampa Bay.
yeah, I like him as an interim
He's
coach.
Yeah, but if you look at his record, he was 17-31 in Tampa Bay.
I know, but all you're doing is saying, "Hey, man, get us through the year so that we can start planning on are we going to trade guys before the? I mean, because that's the way I'm looking at it is, how many guys can you trade before the deadline because you're about to try and load up on picks and just blow it up and start over. And so, like, if you're, and this is, we'll talk about the Lions at some point here, but if you're about to blow it up, you wanna trade off some pieces and get that draft capital so that you're now looking more attractive to a new coach coming in because they have the picks there to build the team the way they want, going out and getting the guys they want. Um, I don't know, man. I'd be thinking that way.
Yeah, and then their offensive coordinator is Dirk Cutter, who was also in Tampa Bay and had a head coaching record of 19-29.
Yeah, yeah, but you're not asking these guys to like all of a sudden win out the rest of the year. You're just saying, hey, we got to send a
True.
message that enough's enough, and we're starting to plan for the future. This year's done for them. I mean, even if they won half of the games from here on out, they're not making the playoffs. So, it doesn't matter, man. And I would expect. I don't know. Here, let me just get back to this. We can come back to them later. So I got Miami at 28. I dropped them by 3 spots. It was tough. Honestly, I really didn't want to drop them too much because I know they lost to a top tier team. It's just that Seattle's defense has been just like piss poor all year. And maybe this was like the game that they finally started getting things together. I've heard a lot of people say that. And so that could be the case. And maybe I'm picking on Miami. But we've seen how hot and cold Fitzpatrick is and how this offense can be when he's not clicking. And so I don't know, man. Just the way I read it and the way I looked at it, I thought, I'm going to drop him down a little bit. I maybe got a little bit too high on him last week. And so we'll see where it goes from here. Jacksonville, 29. I don't know. I just can't drop them any lower at this point. I think their offense still has a lot of potential. It's their defense that's killing them. And I'd like to see Jacksonville work their way back up my board, but I don't know, man. Their defense has got to do something. They just look lost out there. And then 30, I got Washington. Similar to the Jags, I just can't drop them any lower. You know, we know who the real shit show teams are here at the bottom. And I'm actually excited to see what Kyle Allen does. I mean, I'm not expecting the world from him, but, you know, can he get some wins? I think he can, you know, and that's, we'll see how it goes, man.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Exactly.
you know, back to the bottom of the barrel, 31 and 32, you know, I guess because we're here, we got to talk about it, right?
You mean Giants and Jets possibly two teams going 0-16 this year?
It that would be all right. Yeah, that would be incredible if they both went 0 and 16. And I don't know if they're
And,
you know, I don't know if
and
that's
if I'm being
possible.
honest, I almost flipped them this week because I thought the Jets, even though they lost, and I thought they were gonna win for some stupid reason, beat Denver. Um, I thought the Jets have shown more than the Giants.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, the Giants have scored like 2 touchdowns all year.
Yeah, they're yeah, I want to say and I know I have a note when we get to their matchup, but I think they're scoring like 11.8 points per game or something. I mean, it's so low, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hey, so we both got the Giants at 31 and the Jets at 32. Yeah, you could flip them whatever you want to do. They both suck. I was surprised that the Giants played as tight as they did against the Rams, especially with how bad the Giants' offensive line has looked all year. I mean, I just thought it would have been a heyday for Aaron Donald and those guys. But um, you know, and then with the Jets, I don't know. I mean, you can say, hey, they're going to be getting Le'Veon Bell back at some point here, so you know that could be enough to help them out a little bit. But I don't know it's enough to save their season. It just might get them a win or two before it's all said and done. I don't know.
Yeah. And the thing with the Giants and the Rams game, I think the Rams just completely overlooked the Giants, and I think that's the only reason why it was an actual game. The Rams slept walk through the entire game, and
Yeah, yeah. All right, man. So you want to move on to our picks for the week?
let's do it.
Okay. So week 5. Just checking in. I don't have the spreadsheet in front of me, but I know we're at 65% at this point in the year. Which I don't know, man. I don't know if it's good or bad. You know, it seems like we've been letting down since we had that sweet 14-2 week in week 2. You know, we got to get back on track here, and you know, I'll be talking plenty about my model as we look at some of these teams, but I don't know. Yeah, we'll have the people watching tell us is 65% good. I don't really know.
So last week I got 9 right, you got 8 right. So we've gotten 41 correct
Okay,
all season each. The week before I got 8, you got 9, and we just flipped this past week.
gotcha. Well, 65% on the year, so it's better than 50-50. But we're not playing the spread, so 65% might not be all that great. I don't really know what to compare it to. Okay,
Yeah.
so looking at last night, we talked a bit about the Bucks and the Bears. We both picked the Bucks, and it sucks that we're starting the week in the hole again. You know, but like I was just saying, with every loss and every week, I try to reevaluate my model, and I did want to point this out for you. It was very interesting that this morning, after I thought about that whole fourth down issue with Brady, I was looking at my model, and I may have told you before, but I have a clutch quarterback factor. Not every quarterback obviously gets it, but I had Brady getting that clutch quarterback factor at the start of the year. And I didn't change anything else in my model except I flipped it from yes to no, and it actually gave the fucking edge to the Bears for last night's game. And so I'm sure there's a little bit more to it than that. You know, these things aren't perfect. It's a lot of moving pieces, but it just made me realize that maybe Brady's not as clutch as he used to be. And that is for sure a change that I'm making in my model. until I see them prove me wrong.
Hmm. Yeah, and I tried in my modeling, I tried to build in more of an unpredictable factor in there, which you can't really quantify it, but I'm trying to figure that out, which is why we have probably the most differences this week than we have any other week
Hmm.
yet this year. And I think that's because of I'm trying to build into it some sort of honorable factor.
Gotcha. Well, hey,
Because
man,
if you look at the games we get wrong, it's like nobody in their right mind would see that coming.
that's true. But yeah, what do we have this week? You're saying I think we've got 5 different picks this week. I mean, we'll go through the
It's
list,
five or
but
six.
yeah,
One,
you're right.
two, I
This
think
week
it's six. Five,
we're pretty
five.
far off this week. Yeah, and hey, who knows? I mean, it could just be, you know, with a lot of it, I try hard to stick to my model, but like some of the times, it's like my model. I'm just like, no, it doesn't make sense. And you know, we'll probably hit a couple of the teams as we're going through my notes this week, but I get what you're saying. Yeah, some unpredictability. I kind of thought that I need to have a momentum factor for a team like Carolina now, you know, and that's not something I have in mind right now. That you know, you could make that you know, the logarithm very lengthy if you want.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so I guess let's move on here. So let's talk about the Rams and the Washington football team for Sunday. I've got the Rams. You know, I think that the Rams win this game. You know, to me, there's very little doubt. You know, I think that the Giants staying in it the way they did was a little bit of a cause for concern. You know, and when I read up on that game, there were some people calling out that it seems like Sean McVay is overemphasizing the run game. And I don't know that the run game is going to work that well against the Washington defensive line. So they're going to have to get back to the pass. But, you know, we'll see what happens. You know, Washington, like we talked about, they're making a quarterback change. Um, I'm excited to see what Kyle Allen will do, but I still think the Rams win this game.
Yeah, I I had it as pretty much a blowout before the quarterback change, and with the quarterback change, it got a little closer. I think maybe a touchdown, a little bit more. It'll be
Yeah.
a closer game, but I still have the Rams winning this week as well.
You know, and that's exactly where the unpredictability factor comes in that you talked about. You know, yeah, I know there's some tape on Kyle Allen from last year, but now he's on a new team with a whole new supporting cast, and it's kind of hard to know what to expect from him. And I
Mm.
don't know, man. Actually, when we finish this, I might look back at one of my first models that I put together because I do believe I had like a surprise factor because I remember I put something on Cincinnati for Joe Burrow. I know I did in Week 1 when they played the Chargers, but I've like totally revamped my model since then.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on, we got the Buffalo Bills at Tennessee Titans. Maybe,
Mm,
hopefully.
yeah, maybe. Hopefully we look. Tennessee hasn't played with what's they haven't had even had a practice in what 2 weeks. So it'll be 2 weeks by the time the game time comes. Um, I see a little bit of rust. I'm a little bit concerned about Tennessee and possible injuries because they haven't had the football activity
Yeah,
in so long. But I think Buffalo's just purely a better team than Tennessee, anyways. And even if it hadn't been the 2 weeks, I still think Buffalo would win this game.
I gotcha. So here's like we were talking about my model. This is like one of these crazy scenarios where if you didn't look at all those other factors that you just mentioned, my model would actually have Tennessee winning this game. And, you know, but my model also had the Raiders beating the Bills, and that didn't happen. So you got to try and look at all the other things that the model's not taking into account. And like you said, you know, this is a team that's not really practiced that well. They're going to have some rust. On top of that, I mean, there's just the flat out issue that I think you were telling me that they could have to forfeit this game. And so I don't know. With Buffalo being on fire and so many questions with Tennessee, I couldn't take Tennessee in my right mind. So I'm going with the Bills as well.
Yeah.
Okay, Eagles at Steelers. Who you got?
I got the Steelers. I think it's a close-ish game. I think Philadelphia. I'm I don't know if last week it was Philadelphia or if it was San Francisco that dealt the outcome of that game. And I just think Pittsburgh's flying right now.
Yeah.
While they have the built-in excuse, Ben's already complaining like normal about whatever he feels like and anything and everything to give him the built-in excuse of the unplanned bye week, which whatever, dude. Just be a professional. Go stop complaining. Stop floating. I might retire. He didn't say that this year, but you know what I'm saying.
Hey, man, that's
But
my quarterback. You know I love Big Ben. Come on now.
yeah, it's just a matter of shut up and play.
Yeah.
Not really, and like not literally shut up and play, but stop talking about all this other bullshit and and just focus on the game. But I still have Pittsburgh winning the game.
Yeah. Let's just get on with it. It's I mean, hey, man, my biggest concern for Pittsburgh, it's not with this game. It's that they now have to play 13 games straight before the playoffs. And I think that
Hmm.
that's going to hurt this team, especially because we know just historically, Big Ben takes a lot of hits in the pocket, man. He hangs in there and he gets hit. And by the end of the season, he's like barely hanging on by a thread if he even makes it to the end of the season. And so I think for Pittsburgh, they really got to like lock it up and get a first round bye for the playoffs, or they're just not gonna. I can't see them making a Super Bowl run without a break between now and then, man. I mean, that'd be crazy. But I got Pittsburgh winning this one just like you. I think it was nice Philly got their win last week. Um, I don't know. I just think they're outmatched. I think, from what I read about this game, everybody's saying this is all about the defensive lines and the offensive lines. Philly's defensive line has been looking good all of a sudden, which, I mean, rightfully so. They got a lot of talent. But the Pittsburgh defensive line is also pretty fucking solid. And the Philly offensive line is pretty suspect. And so I just, at least right now, while guys are hurt and trying to come back. But aside from that, I just think Pittsburgh has more talent all around. I think they get this win. Plus, it's at home for them. Not that the home field advantage thing matters at this point, because there's like I don't know. I think I heard they're going to have 5,500 fans or something. It's better than nothing, but it's just not much.
Yeah.
Okay, so next we got Arizona at the New York Jets. I mean, do I have to
The
say it?
Jets, the Jets below. Arizona's winning this game. I can't see a path to the Jets winning this. Especially they're starting Joe Flacco this week.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say this,
That's
man.
come
I
on.
I saw some tape on Flacco, and they're the one positive thing is they're saying Flacco still has a hell of an arm, man. He can drop the fucking bomb, but he's a statute in the pocket, statue in the pocket, and I don't know, man. I can't support the Jets. I'm going with the Cardinals, just like you. The thing that I've been looking at is I was talking to you before this is that now we got some COVID complications that I heard they put the Cardinals travel on hold until they figure out what's going on
Well,
with the Jets.
actually, that's actually updated. It was a false positive this morning. His subsequent whoever tested positives, their subsequent test was negative, and their rapid test was negative. So it was just a false positive that they
All right, so
had.
they're good to
So
go.
there's no concern. And Arizona had said that even while they were waiting for the results, Arizona had said that they're still traveling to New York as planned today.
Oh, nice. Well, that's good. Well, I'm glad that that's on track. Okay, moving on. We got the Raiders at the Chiefs. Don't tell me you're thinking about the Raiders, man.
No, we skipped one.
Who'd we skip?
Broncos and the Patriots. Do I have it in the wrong order?
Yeah, it's probably because the schedule probably changed, so I might have it in the wrong order. But go ahead,
Uh,
give me the Broncos at the Patriots.
yeah, because this is one of the ones where we differ, and
Yes,
so I would I would love to pick the Patriots this week.
but you can't with a hot mess at quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. I can't pick the Patriots with who Stidham at quarterback or Hoyer at quarterback.
It's
I
not going to
and
be Hoyer.
if Cam was starting, which theoretically there's a possibility that Cam could still play in this game.
I heard that. Yeah.
I I may change it if I find out that Cam is starting because the only reason why I picked Denver is of the quarterback situation.
Listen, if you change it, I'm only going to give you a half a win. I'm just telling you right now. That's the penalty for not getting it right the first time, James. I'm fucking with you. You had such a serious
No, I
look on
know.
your face, man. You know I'm messing with you. No, listen. I've got the Patriots. I like that that we've got something to get excited about here. It's one of these things. And I told you that I'm not totally confident with my pick because the quarterback situation is such a mess. But it's a mess on both sides. Drew Lock may not play, and so it's you could be looking at a game with a couple of backups, man. And I think that that's a dicey situation all around. I want to give the benefit to the Patriots because Belichick is just a fucking badass. But I mean, if it's a bunch of backups playing, I can see it going either way. But I'm sticking with the Pats for now. Okay, so going
All
back
right.
up.
Raiders at the Chiefs.
Yes.
All right. Patrick Mahomes has played the Raiders 4 times. He's 4-0 against the Raiders. 11 passing touchdowns, 100, and they've outscored the Raiders 143 to 55.
Holy shit.
So I'm going with the Chiefs.
I don't have a cool stat like you, but I'm going with the Chiefs as well. I can't go against them until they lose at this point. I just got to stick with that mindset. All right, so then we got Jacksonville at Houston.
This one is one of those I don't feel any confidence in my pick at all.
I felt the
I
same way, man.
just it's just you look at it, Houston's playing like shit this year, and they look like they gave up against Bill O'Brien with Bill O'Brien or against Bill O'Brien as
Yeah.
their coach. Jacksonville's defense looks like crap. The last couple of weeks, Minshew hasn't looked good. I didn't I just I went with Houston because maybe because they fired their coach, they're going to come out and play better.
Yeah, maybe they rally around Romeo Cornell. Who knows? I mean, he's a super fucking seasoned coach. He's been around forever. Um, I don't know, dude. I think it's the same Texans, but it's also the same Jags defense, and I think that that's the difference maker. Is that Deshaun Watson is going to score some points. I think that Houston's defense can slow down Minshew, I think Houston gets it just for that. Offensively they're going to do a little bit more. So, and I mean that's how you win, right? You got to
Yeah.
score more points. Okay, so we both got Houston. Moving on, we got Cincinnati at Baltimore. And I know you love Cincinnati. I know it.
Well, see, I do actually love what I'm seeing from Cincinnati this year,
Yeah.
but Baltimore already lost their one game this year, so
Oh, that's it. They're just going to lose the one, huh?
maybe might lose one more.
Week
I had
17,
Baltimore
week
at 14
17 when
and
they
2.
bench everybody for the playoffs, that'll be their second loss.
Yeah, I had Baltimore going 14-2 this year. I'm not going to pick Cincinnati to beat them,
No, I
so I have
I,
Baltimore.
I was totally fucking with you. Obviously, I got Baltimore as well, man. I love Joe Burrow, what he's doing. I think, man, it's just sweet. And I like what I'm seeing out of the Bengals in general. It's not just Joe Burrow, but I think he's the heartbeat, and that's awesome. But I can't see them upsetting the Ravens. Even if Lamar Jackson, there was like some surprise thing because I knew he had, some minor knee thing this week. Even if they just said, you know what, just to be safe, we're going to keep Lamar Jackson out, I still think the Ravens win this game.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So next I got Carolina at Atlanta.
Now this is another game that we differed on, and
Yes.
I just think I just can't pick Atlanta to win a game until they actually win a game.
Yeah.
And that's what it boiled down to on it. Like I see Atlanta as possibly the better team. Maybe I don't know. It's hard to tell because they've lost like in ridiculous fashion. Like go against complete history, and no team has ever lost being up 28 points in the fourth quarter, and somehow Dan Quinn figures out a way to blow the game
Yeah.
and shit like that. I just can't pick Atlanta to win a game.
No, listen, man. This is the most dicey matchup for me. Is that I'm picking Atlanta, and my model tells me Atlanta should win this game. But man, Carolina, they've actually got a couple wins, and Atlanta has none. And I just, it's like, am I an idiot for picking this team when I think Dan Quinn's getting fired this weekend? I don't know. I think I'm sticking with Atlanta, man. You know that the players love Dan Quinn. Maybe this is their last hoorah where they get a fucking win and they save them for another week, and who knows where it goes from there. But I would not be surprised if Carolina wins. But I got to pick a team, and I'm picking Atlanta. Okay, Miami at San Fran.
So when I originally picked this game, it was before I knew Garoppolo was coming back. I'm not changing my pick on it. So I still have Miami,
Okay.
but I think it's going to be closer than I thought it was going to be. But I still think Miami pulls it out.
Hey, I got you. Well, you still got some time if you want to flip it. It's no big deal. There's no real penalty like my half point thing I was messing with you on. Um, I've got San Francisco. Like I told you earlier, I think that the backup quarterback situation is what bit him in the ass last week. I don't see that happening again with Jimmy G coming back. I'm not a fan of Jimmy G. I know you're not a fan of Jimmy G, but I think he brings a lot more stability than the backup quarterback situation did for them. And the one thing just to keep a lookout for is that Miami's defense actually played really well against Seattle all the way up until the end of the game last week. That could be a factor, but I just think San Francisco still takes this one. Okay, so next we got the Giants at the Cowboys.
So in this game, I think the Giants doubled their offensive touchdown production for the year and get 2 more offensive touchdowns.
This is the time to do it, right?
Yeah. So they have 4 after 5 games, but I still think Dallas pulls it out because
Yeah.
that Giants team is just terrible.
Yeah, the Giants can't score points. Dallas, all they can do is score points. And so I think Dallas wins this one. And yeah, I did have my stat here. The Giants are averaging 11.8 points per game. I, I would love to see, like, some historical stat to show where does that rank, like, all time through the first 4 weeks. I mean, it's so low, man. It's so low. Um, yeah, and hey, and just going back to the Mike Nolan thing, I'm sure he's got to be toast soon. There's no way they're going to hang on to that guy when the offense is this electric. I don't know what you do mid-season, but you got to do something. Okay, next game we got the Colts at the Browns.
So I believe this is another one that we differed on. When I looked at this game, yeah, the Browns did whatever they wanted last week, but they were playing Dallas. This defense is a lot better than Dallas's defense for the Colts. The
Yes.
Colts I think Cleveland comes back to earth a little bit and struggles a little bit against this defense, which causes a little bit of infighting on that team, and the Colts pull it out.
I gotcha. And Chubb's out. So, I mean, Chubb's out for a while. I know I told you earlier they ran well without him in this game. I'm going with Cleveland. I went back and forth a lot on this one for a lot of the reasons that you're saying. The Indy D has really impressed me. In the Cleveland running game has really impressed me. For now, I'm giving Cleveland the edge. But I mean, yeah, I can see this one going either way.
Yeah.
All right, so next on my list, I had Denver and New England, which we already talked about because my order was fucked up. Thank you, James. So we'll go to Minnesota at Seattle.
What this boils down to, it's a primetime game. Kirk Cousins can't play in primetime games and can't win in primetime games.
I thought he finally got a couple primetime wins, man.
No, he had a big game win. He still doesn't have a primetime win.
Oh
He,
shit.
he it was
Okay,
because the playoff game wasn't a primetime game.
gotcha.
So the edge goes to Seattle. Plus Minnesota's defense is playing like shit, and Russ is gonna just explode against them.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I can't go against Dangerous. I mean, dude, the guy's on fire. And I hope he stays on fire, man. I want this guy to win the MVP. He deserves it. He's been a legit badass quarterback all these years. And it still blows me away how you hear about he's never gotten one fucking MVP vote. I mean, how has
Well,
that happened?
but that's a bullshit stat. Anyways, if you actually look into how the MVP voting is done, you name one person. You don't vote 1 through 3. You vote for the top one person. And who?
But you
Like
got to be
like for
kidding me.
instance,
All these years, there's not been one guy to say Russell Wilson with the way he's played every single year.
right? But look at the MVPs in his career. It's like if you go back, like
I
last
got
year,
you.
was
I
Russell
got you.
Wilson going to get a vote over Lamar
Lamar,
Jackson? The year
yeah,
before, was he going to get a vote
over Mahomes.
over Mahomes?
I don't know. I just think there would
Like,
be
I mean,
one guy out there somewhere.
The argument could be made like, what, we won it 3 years ago, maybe. But I mean, and then Matt Ryan, the year in 2016 when Matt Ryan had a phenomenal year.
Yeah, he did have a
Or the
really
year
good
before
year.
that, Cam
Yeah,
Newton. Cam Newton had a phenomenal year. Aaron
yeah.
Rodgers had a phenomenal year when he won it. Like, he's always had that player that just had that much better of a year
So you're
than
saying
him.
it's
And
it's the system is flawed, not him.
yeah,
I mean, obviously it's not him.
exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Exactly.
hey,
You get to
either
vote for one person.
yeah, either way, I've got the Seahawks. So, all right. All right. So then we got Monday. Well, my notes are Monday. Who knows what the schedule is? My next matchup is the Chargers at the Saints.
So this one I struggled with a little bit. I really like how the Chargers been playing, and they've been staying in games they shouldn't be in. I'm not, even though, yeah, they scored 35 points, but they scored 35 points against the fucking Lions.
Yeah.
Um, I, I keep going back and forth on it. I think I ultimately picked the Chargers, and I'm not as confident in it, but I think the Chargers might break through this week and finally beat that team and have that good game and complete game that they're supposed to.
Yeah, just get them rallying. You never know. I mean, I've got the Saints. I think you're a big time downer on the Saints, man. And there's a lot of reasons to be a downer on the Saints. I still think Breeze, even if we're going to make the argument that his arm strength is gone and things are falling apart, he's still a super smart quarterback. They're getting guys back healthy, And I don't know. I got to go with the Saints on this one. And plus Breeze, you look at his career record in New Orleans. I mean, the guy, and I know there's no home field advantage, but he has been lights out at the Mercedes whatever dome that they got going on down there. So, and Herbert's impressed me. I'll give him that. I don't know. I agree with everything you said, but I'm going with the Saints.
Yeah. And plus they only beat the Lions by a touchdown.
That's true. That's true. But the Lions did come out hot, and then they collapsed like they always do. So I don't know. Um, and hey, you got until Sunday if you want to change your, or you got until Monday to change your mind, whatever it is. Um, all right, so looking forward another week because we got to go to next Thursday's game. We got Kansas City at Buffalo. Who do you like in that one?
Well, first we should point out that if the Buffalo Titans game is played, the Thursday night game is going to be moved to Sunday.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, yeah, it's a good point.
Um,
I mean, let's pick anyhow because they're not.
I know.
Are they saying that they're going to rename a Thursday night team, or they're just going to have everything go to Sunday?
I don't think they can move a game from Sunday to Thursday. They can't move a
Yeah,
game back. But then again, they weren't supposed to be able to move a game from Thursday to Sunday, so
yeah. So I guess we'll pick the game, and if it gets pushed, then we'll just be talking about it next Friday anyhow.
but in their announcement they said that they didn't announce a new game on Thursday night. So it would just be moving the game to Sunday. I'm delaying because I really don't know who to pick in that game. I think I think Buffalo's been playing really really well. I really I love
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City and that team, and I think my first instinct would be to go with Kansas City on it. So yeah, Kansas City.
Okay. Well, yeah. I was going to make you pick one. I wasn't going to let you just delay and do all that kind of stuff. But you obviously can change it between now and then. There's a lot of time. We could find out about injuries and all sorts of other crazy shit. I'm also going Kansas City. Listen, we both fucked up a couple weeks ago with the Baltimore thing, and we I think have come back to the realization that you stick with the Chiefs until somebody beats them, and then you can start saying, hey, maybe they're not all that fucking awesome, but they are that awesome. So I'm sticking with the Chiefs for now. Good deal.
Good deal.
Okay, so that's the picks. Hopefully, all these games get played. Now, since you had your little fun part at the beginning with name that stadium or whatever we're going to call it, I wanted to finish it this week with a question of the week. And I know I've hinted that we're going to be talking about the Lions a lot. And so, let's just start our question of the week. I think that it's probably the ship has already sailed here, but will the Lions fire head coach Matt Patricia and or GM Bob Quinn while the team is still on a bye week?
I wish.
Ditto. I think they could. I mean, it's because it's so late now that you got to believe they've already made their mind up that they're sticking with them. But if they were going to do it, this would be the ideal time because you've got that extra week to get your interim coach, get his system going, get everybody in the same page. Hey, this is the new guy for the rest of the year. It just pisses me off, man. And I know we talked about it last week, but, when we beat the Cardinals a couple weeks ago, that gave Matt Patricia 10 wins in his career as a head coach. It took him 2+ years, 2.25 years to get there. Okay.
Don't forget about the one tie.
Yeah, fuck the tie. I'm only looking at wins. Okay. And
That's a half a win on the standings.
It counts for
I'm
zero
just
in my book, James. It counts for
I'm being a
zero.
smartass.
Yes.
I'm just fucking with you on that.
Okay, so he just got to 10. And when we go back and we look at Jim Caldwell, he had 9 fucking wins in his last year with Detroit. 9 wins in his last season, and we fired his ass. I mean, it just, and like, here's the thing. I'm not about to say, oh, I want Jim Caldwell back, okay? Because I was never a big Jim Caldwell fan. I thought he was a good coach at the right time, but he was one of those guys that I never felt like he was going to get us to that next level. I thought he was the guy that was going to get us here, and then we needed to find the guy that was going to get us to here. And when we brought in Patricia, I just kind of thought, so unproven. You got a team that's like on the cusp. I don't know. I thought there was something better out there, and now here we are, 2+ years later, two and a quarter years later. Man, they just fucking suck, dude. It pisses me off. So,
Yeah,
so I guess, so I guess anyhow,
I'd rather have Caldwell than Patricia.
yeah, because at least we would be in the playoff hunt. Well, and with the new playoff spot, we'd be making the playoffs with Caldwell, and he got us to the playoffs. So I don't want to. So all right, so here, let me get back to this. At the start of the show, we're doing the name the stadium thing for you to have a little bit of fun in the background and get people engaged. For anybody that makes it to the end, now we've got our question of the week, which, every week we'll come up with something new. And this one is, I asked my question, will they fire, Patricia or Quinn this week? And if anybody wants to put an answer in the comments, let us know. But I would even expand on that question because we're already this far into the bye. If it's not now, when? How many more losses have to pile up before they do a midseason change? Or do you think it's just not even a question? They're going to wait until the end of the year. I want to know what people think, man, because I think this is fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Come on, that's all you can say. I know you can expand on that, James. You're fueling this pain as much as I am, man.
Yeah, I I don't even know why we fucking hired Patricia. Besides to get all the cast-offs from New England in there because he was Bob Quinn's boy. I mean, what the fuck did Patricia do before to show that he deserved a fucking head coaching job in the first place?
It was just the New England connection with Bob Quinn. Dude, the thing that chaps my ass the most about this is that we brought in Vrabel for an interview. And we were like, nope, we want Matt Patricia. Like, we didn't even really give Vrabel a real interview, man. Like, what the fuck is up with that? And now he's solid in Tennessee. I get what everybody says. Tennessee, oh man, they're suspect. But Vrabel has been a hell of a coach, man. He has coached the heck out of that team.
Yeah, and then when Patricia, who's supposed to be this defensive genius,
Yeah.
is asked about defensive failures, he goes back to the fact that he was the defensive coordinator for the Malcolm Butler interception in the fucking Super Bowl. Who gives a shit what happened 5 years ago?
Yeah, you suck dick now. Your defense is shitty because of you right now. I mean, fuck that, man. And here's the thing. It's like, let's go back and let's talk about the Patriots defense from all the years he was there. Look at how many times they churned that roster and how many times that defense became a top 10 unit by the end of the year. That was not fucking Matt Patricia, man. That was all Belichick. And we've seen it with all his disciples over all the years. They go somewhere else and they fall flat on their face. And now here we go. Patricia's like fucking pounding his chest like he's some fucking badass. And he's got 10 wins in fucking 2.25 seasons. It just kills me, man. It kills me. I'm surprised that they're still hanging on to this asshole. It just, whatever. But that was my question of the week. I thought that would be fun. If anybody's still watching, hit us up with some comments. All right, so now that we're past that, any closing thoughts, James? Anything that you'd like to talk about? The changing of the guard with the quarterbacks and some of the teams in the league? Anything like that?
I'm just interested. Like I'm hearing a lot of rumors about what the league's going to do if they have to cancel more games. If like there's if it's like one or two teams or three teams, maybe they just go by win percentage instead of games won. If it's much more than that, they might push week 17 back a week and play week 17 as a makeup week, and then the whatever was scheduled week 17 will be played in what's week 18 or week 19, because in Tampa Bay, for the entire month of February, the NFL has right of first refusal for the hotel rooms for the
Okay,
entire month.
you were telling me about the stadium thing, like the stadium had to be blocked off for the whole month. But you're
Yeah,
saying for the
the,
hotels, it's the same
the
situation.
hotel the hotel rooms as part of the agreement to have the Super Bowl there for the entire month of February. The NFL has right of first refusal
Yeah.
for the hotel. So the NFL has to actually say no before they can rent that hotel room out to somebody else.
So, I've been hearing, and this is just on the radio and different avenues. I've been hearing that they've been talking about doing a pause or a series of pauses, which could be either, hey, this is getting out of control. We're going to pause the season for 3 weeks, and then we're going to pick it up where we left off. But I've heard alternatively, it could be intermittent pausing where they say, hey, it's getting bad. We're pausing for a week, and that's all we think we're going to need is a week to get everybody back on track. And then if it happens again in a few weeks, we'll pause for one more week. And they could do that a couple times throughout the year without it getting like drastically thrown off track. I think it depends on the testing and like what the timing is in their protocols. And, could you get away with just pausing it for a week, or does it have to be more? Because if it has to be a multi-week pause, you could really only do that so many times before things are really screwed up.
Yeah, and some things I've been hearing is with some of the sports talk guys is there's rumors out there that the Super Bowl might not even be played till St. Patrick's Day.
So yeah, you're going first Sunday of February till the middle of March.
Yeah,
It'd be a fun St. Patty's. Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, hey,
exactly.
you know what? Honestly, for me, if they, as long as they persevere and they find a way to get there, I think I'd be happy with it being later because you still have a long off season that they can condense, and next year could still be fine. And so, if they got to push it out, man. I think the NFL is okay to do that. Um, I just don't want to see him throw in the towel. And with this Tennessee stuff, it gets me worried because man, they got a lot of guys that are getting sick, man. I mean, it's not good. And then you hear people talking. Like I know Drew Rosenhaus was on NFL Network the other week, and him trying to guide his clients about being smart because it could ruin the livelihood of other players. And you have such a challenging environment where you've got some people, whether they're older or younger, they're married and they have families and they're concerned, and so they're super tight about it. And then you have some people, they don't have a family or they just have a different kind of lifestyle and they want to get out and they want to live their lives. And those are the guys that are the higher risk kind of guys that can end up ruining it for everybody else. But even then, yeah, you can't even call them out because the guys that have the families, all it takes is one visit to grandma and grandpa's. And now all of a sudden, you had a break in that chain where you kept everything nice and tight and secure, and people are getting sick. And so there's so many ways this thing can go south, man. That's what's scary about it.
Yeah, and what I'm hearing is the person that actually brought it into the locker room or into the facility in Tennessee. It was an assistant coach.
Oh, wow. See, I thought it was a guy that they were working out. Um, or maybe that was one of the other teams. I thought for one of them they identified it was a player they brought in for a workout, ended up coming back testing positive, and that's how it started. But
Yeah,
huh,
it was it
okay,
was it, it was apparently the week before the Minnesota game, an assistant coach tested positive, and and you have apparently you have it for a couple days before it actually shows up on the test, and you're contagious for a couple days before it shows up on a test.
Yeah.
So he brought it in, then he tested positive, but by the time he tested positive, he
It
already
already
had spread
spread.
it in the locker room.
I gotcha. Yeah, and and I hear different things all the time as we learn more and more about it. But I heard that you can have it for 72 hours. Well, here, I guess let me say this. I heard that you can be exposed to it, and it's 72 hours before you become contagious. But then there's a period of time that until you test positive, like you're saying. And so it's like, well, what window are we looking at? And at the end of the day, all the testing that they're doing, it's all reactive. If somebody comes up hot, it's like, oh shit, you're hot. You've been around it people every single day. So now we're just watching everybody else. Like there's not a good proactive way of saying we're testing you right now, which means you're good for the next 24 hours. It's we're testing you now, which means that 3 days ago you were still okay because there's a lag until you come back out.
Yeah, and it takes something like 2 to 7 days for it to show up positive on a test.
Yeah, that's where this whole thing is scary, man. It's all reactive, and the NFL is not in a bubble like the NBA was, and even the NBA bubble, you heard people saying, well, it's easy to pierce that bubble because you can't, they're having people come in and out to help make food and do things and take care of them and whatever else. And it's just, I think they did a pretty good job, but yeah, the NFL, man, it's hard to do that. You got way more players, you got way more coaches. The whole machine is just so much bigger and so many people that the testing is good, but it may not be the thing on its own that saves it. So I don't know. We'll see where it plays out.
And the problem is with the NFL, it's not the NFL has basically come out and said they're willing to put all the players up in a hotel and like create like a local bubble for the team,
Mm-hmm.
but the players won't agree to it because they have
Oh, no way.
families.
Yeah.
They don't want to be confined for the season, which I foresee when it gets to like you get to like Championship Sunday, probably the NFC AFC Championship game are going to be
Yeah.
played in Atlanta, and they'll be in a bubble there.
Yeah, that would make sense. Once it becomes more important, people are going to take it more seriously and they're going to be willing to make more sacrifices because they want to get to the end. Right now, it's so early on that they're thinking, I'm not gonna get sick. I'm gonna be smart. Everything's gonna be good. And that's when mistakes happen and things spiral out of control. So, or they could spiral out of control.
Yeah.
All right. So let me, I don't know. I got a whole bunch of miscellaneous notes here, but we've been going for a while. Do you have any final thoughts before we close this out?
No, that was just my final thought,
Okay.
which I didn't realize would spawn such a long and cut off your final thoughts. So
No,
next week
no,
you go
no.
first with final thoughts.
No, it's cool. Honestly, I don't know why tonight I just made a whole list of random stuff that we could talk about at the end. And it's not like I needed to because every week it seems like we're solid talking for a good hour and a half anyhow. And so, I'll just push these until the future and we'll see where we go. But I think the way that we're doing this now, where we're adding this name that stadium at the start, I think that's cool. And then we'll have this question of the week at the end. They won't all be super negative like this, where I'm talking about Detroit and it's just like frustrating as all heck. Next week maybe you and I will play around with it, and I won't spring it on you. We can collaborate and come up with some good questions just to get people who are watching to participate in the show and hit us up with some comments, man. I mean, that's the thing, is just we want to hear from some people. So I guess on that note, for anybody who's left out there, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. We love the support. And, James, I'm still having a heck of a lot of fun doing this, man. I don't even know what this is, like episode 14 or 15 at this point. We're on a pretty good roll, man.
Yeah, pretty good roll. I haven't been counting, so I couldn't even tell you. But
Well, we'll check it out later because I got to put it up on YouTube anyhow. So I'll quickly do the math. I'll let you know.
yeah.
All right, man. So I'll hit you up in a little bit. Maybe we'll do some gaming or something. We'll hang out for a little bit.
All right, sounds good.
All right, man. See ya. Gridiron Grinder. Hut, hut, hike.